and what kept you in the cycling industry? Because you have been working in different capacities in the cycling
Yes,
industry since you were 18. So what kept you in the industry? So
I think there are two main reasons. One reason is that I just wanted to develop my skills and develop myself. So that's why I was changing the fields of the cycling industry. So from the retail, between marketing, and since few years I'm in the product management, which I think I like the most. That's one thing. And the second reason is the innovation that is in the bike industry. You know, if you like imagine yourself how the bike looked like 20 years ago.
welcome to another episode of Ride to Success, a podcast that takes you on a learning journey to a more productive, creative, and active life through the power of the bike. My name is Pedro Couto Lopez. You can find me on LinkedIn under my own name, Pedro Couto Lopez. And in this podcast, I explore cycling's global trends, community needs, innovative business strategies, and the journeys of remarkable individuals in the world of cycling. In this episode, we are joined by Kasia Giger, a seasoned product manager with nearly 20 years of experience in the bike and e-bike industry. From humble beginnings as a bike mechanic in Poland to leading innovation in Switzerland's urban mobility space, Kasia shares her powerful story of growth, passion, and resilience. We dive into the evolution of the cycling industry, the role of women in product development, the challenges of balancing career and family, and why a mismatched pair of socks might just be the secret to a great day. Get ready for honest, insightful, and inspiring conversation that speaks to the heart of what it means to build a life and a career around the power of the bike. Welcome, Kasia, to Ride to Success. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. Hi, Pedro.
So let's get straight into you have led quite an interesting career, and I'm interested to find out a bit more about it. You often describe yourself as sharing a passion for cycling, both as a hobby and as a profession. So I'm kind of interested in finding out, how did it shape you as a person, and if you will, like how do you first got into cycling? What is the origin story, if you will?
Yeah, well, it went quite naturally because cycling is a hobby for me. And, since I was a kid, I used to ride a bike. And after high school, before, in Poland, after high school and before you start university, we normally have a pretty long holidays, like a 4 months,
Right, I
break.
see.
So I thought, okay, let's get some summer job, and where should I search? Okay,
How
let's
old were
become
you? How old were you when it started?
I was 18 years old then.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah.
And I found a job as a bike mechanic in some.
Wow, a bike mechanic. Well done. So, okay. So let's rewind a bit. So you were 18, looking for a job, and you found a job as a bike mechanic. But
I was
before
kind of
that,
like, I was a help of a bike mechanic back then.
okay.
But of course, through years it was evolving. Then I started to work.
Who? How did he get into riding bikes? Because you can't just get a job as a. Oh, you can. I'm sure you can. But what my meaning, my questioning is not like. Sorry, apologies if I came across. I didn't mean to come across it like you can't. What I meant to say is how did the interest in riding bikes and cycling kind of started for you to look for a job as an assistant to a bike mechanic?
Okay, so honestly, it was a coincidence. I mean, I was all like I said, I was into cycling and I really like it. And back then, I didn't really have too many friends that they were into cycling this much. And one day, my friend she found online the job opening for a bike mechanic, and she sent it to me, and I was like, "Yeah, let's give a try." It's like I love to do it. So why not? So originally I also come from Warsaw, but my grandparents, they live on the countryside around. So they have a lot of forest around, so I was always cycling somewhere there. And
Okay, right. Mm-hmm.
it also, and because I really like to do it, as an 18-year-old teenager or younger, you don't have so much money. So if you want to fix the bike, I mean, nowadays, normally kids, they go to the service, but it was almost 20 years ago. Oh my gosh. So what could you do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Take some tools in the hand and
and
learn by doing
learn
some mistakes.
in the job on the job.
Yes.
So brilliant. So okay, so you got started in there, and then obviously 20 years fast forward, you've been in the bike industry, working in different capacities.
Yeah.
And I mean, what obviously you had an interest in cycling, but I'm interested in what kept you in the cycling industry, because you have been working in different capacities in the cycling
Yes.
industry since you were 18. So what kept you in the industry? So
I think there are two main reasons. One reason is that I just wanted to develop my skills and develop myself. So that's why I was changing the fields of the cycling industry. So
yeah.
from the retail, between marketing, and since few years I'm in the product management, which I think I like the most. That's one thing. And the second reason is the innovation
Uh-huh.
that is in the bike industry. If you imagine yourself how the bike looked like 20 years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, I could not do the proper service of the bike right now. Unfortunately,
Well,
so much
because
changed, and
yeah,
these innovations. It's great
I mean,
to see.
there is now the with especially with the e-bikes, they have proprietary software, the way they're integrated, battery development, it's
Indeed.
maintenance. It's a lot of parts that I'm sure that there's a lot of training that goes into uh, well, one, developing these bikes, two, then servicing them, and three, like passing this knowledge on to the customer so that they know or
Exactly.
what is the best way to service a bike or to operate. Because I mean, like as obviously as technology progresses and new innovations come to the market, there is an element as well of how can we make the servicing, the maintenance of the bikes easier for the customer as well.
Yeah, and also how can we make the just like a daily life easier? Because
Of course.
obviously, on one side we have sustainability,
Hmm.
on the other side we have the batteries and more
Yeah.
electricity into the bike. But if we look at the big picture and we're gonna see how many people choose the e-bike
Hmm.
specifically, instead of the cars,
Yeah.
it's great improvement, and it's really great to see that more people move themselves
Yeah.
than just like a sitting and driving the car.
Of course. I mean, there's huge benefits to cycling, and I mean, not only health-wise, but also the environment we touched briefly upon, um, and the kind of the well-being as well. And I think that this kind of leads perfectly onto one question that I have on my mind is, you have been the product manager now in different companies for I think 4 years now or more. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mm.
and I'm interested to find out how do you balance the kind of innovation from with the practical consumer needs, especially in your role right now in kind of in the urban bike segment, because you're not talking about you probably talking to people that see the bike as a way of moving from A to B, and they really want something that is comfortable, easy to live with, um, and is also beautiful to look at. So, how do you balance the innovation with kind of the practicality of developing a new product for a consumer that is looking for a urban mobility solution?
Of course, so we are talking to, or rather, we are listening our customers, and we are looking at the market, what's happening, what's going on, and I think that the very big trend right now is the integration, like the general, to integrate the lights and to have the integrated cockpit, which, or for example, like probably one of the favorite mechanic thing, integrated brake cables into the bar.
Oh.
So, we try to find kind of the balance between what the customer wants, what the customer really needs, because sometimes you want something, but it's not really that you need.
Yeah.
And something that makes a sense, of course, from the from after sales perspective. So, as a product manager, we have to take all the feedback from all our channels into account.
Yeah.
And I think this is the way how we find kind of like, this balance. So, also customers want to have some features on the bike, but are they really willing to pay this much for such an upgrade?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I often compare the bike industry to automotive. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not from the organization, from the organization in those both industries. It looks very, very different because bike industry is, it's still a bit different. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not.
How different would you say it is? Because I'm asking because we now see automotive brands starting to develop e-bikes, and starting to come into the cycling industry, the urban, specifically more the e-bike space, the urban mobility.
Yeah.
And how do you see that that shift from like car manufacturers or motorbike manufacturers coming into what is in fact your space?
Yeah, we as a cycling people, we are mostly enthusiasts who just love to do what we do. And we take an advantage that testing the bikes is still a part of our routine.
I guess that's definitely one of the perks. Not that I have experience of that, but I'm sure you as the product manager has a lot to do with the real world testing of the bikes. Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the case?
Yeah. I mean, this is a great part of our job, but it's not. I would say not anymore a daily routine, but
Sure.
still a
Yeah,
big
for sure.
part of our job. And this is maybe something that also the automotive industry has to still learn from us.
Interesting. I mean, there is not long ago I had the April Marsky on the podcast, and she was saying about how she was curious about how the shift from automotive brands coming into the cycling space, and why she was questioning why there weren't more the automotive industry, more players coming into the cycling space. And she argued that the cycling industry players were more nimble, there was also a degree of more enthusiasm and passion on the people working in the industry, and things were made quicker. And I wanted to what is your take on that?
We know, the reason why automotive is entering the bicycle industry is clear, they don't do it for fun.
For sure.
So, it's also worth to mention that it all started mostly during the Corona time. So COVID is was a huge boom for the bike industry, and after COVID was a huge boom for bankruptcy from many brands. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
but that's the reality. And this micro mobility, there are different reasons why they are entering, but the electro cars and the micro mobility, so for sure they have automotive industry, they have a capability and capacity to produce also the bikes, but if they think that the bike is just two wheels and the frame, then they're gonna. That I think this is also the point where they are a bit surprised how challenging it is to make a bike.
Interesting. That's a very is a good perspective, because it's can be seen as, I guess, very simple, like a frame and two wheels, but the development as it is, the innovations that have been happening in the
You ride the
bikes
bike
at the moment.
yourself.
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
Oh, now imagine what happens if you have like a bike with the wrong geometry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You stop
Or if
riding it.
it's not stiff enough or whatever, there are just such a small things that really matter.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I'm interested to also understand, what development have you seen in your capacity as a product manager, coming from Scott now to your present company at Ego Movement? What development have you seen in the bike industry in terms of innovations, in terms of specifically within the urban sector?
So I think that's what I mentioned before, that the main case is integration.
Okay.
And reducing the weight of the bikes, because in the urban industry, in this urban segment, it's about to use the bike really on the daily basis.
Yeah.
And the bike has to be very reliable, but depends where you live as well. Right now I develop only the e-bike, so so I can talk from this perspective.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, that's what I'm interested in hearing. Yeah.
What is interesting right now is, for example, to see, do we really need to go into the 700 watt hours batteries,
Right.
which are quite heavy, I would say. It's like the weight of the battery is half of the weight of the nice carbon road bike.
Wow. Okay.
Or even more. So for sure, we want to reduce the size of those components made for
The weight
e-bikes, like the
is
motors. Exactly, the weight of the battery. And I'm really looking forward to have the small size battery with the large capacity. That's that's what everyone wants, I guess.
Of course, yeah. Everyone. If you ask a consumer, they want something that is light, something that is easy to live with, something that looks like beautiful.
Yes.
When you put it against the wall, you are happy to see it.
But you see, that's
you're
the
happy to be
point.
seen at it.
That's the point. I think it's when you are looking, when people are buying for a car, they are also want to have something nice for the eye.
Oh, of course, yeah. they want to feel
that's
like
why
they
it's a connection
exactly,
as
yeah.
well. And also to make the bikes. What is interesting in this urban segment, normally about 70% customers are women. So that's also very interesting. And women are buying with the eyes as well. They buy with the emotions. But then at the same time, who's supposed to, for example, like develop the bikes for the woman?
That's all right. So you touched a very critical point here, because who is developing the bikes for women? So I wanted to touch on this. So I mean, so I guess that's the question: who is developing the bikes for women?
Yeah,
And are women developing the bikes for women?
in general, the bike industry is it's mostly made by men. During my 20 years within the industry, and right now in the product management, I think about like 8 years or so, I had just one female colleague as a product manager. There are some women only one.
Oh my god! So in that category, in your role in different roles, you have different roles, but within project management, you had only one other woman working in your team.
Yeah.
And during that time, were you developing woman-specific bikes, women-specific products?
Yes, of course. And in fact, we are just on kicking off moment for the new project, also just for a woman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's of course we have a bit different perspective. It's very it how to say it, when I use 3 languages on the daily basis.
I mean, I think I'm going to kind of help, I guess. I don't not help, but I'm going to speak what I think, and then you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, because I don't want to put words in your mouth. But from my perspective, as an outsider, is that having more women in leadership roles, in the product development roles, helps to bring a new perspective, helps to bring
Definitely
a new outlook into the development of new products and what it looks like. Because one of the things that I've seen and I've heard through having these discussions with other guests on the podcast is that you have brands wanting to develop woman-specific products, but then you look at their product development team, and there's only men there. Like, they think, you start questioning. Okay, good on you to want to develop a woman-specific product, but do you have someone in your team that's going to lead these or help you with development, or are you going to do market research? Like, how is this going to work out? And I think when you have a product that you want to develop for women, and then I guess, okay, I don't want to kind of come across as mansplaining here, but stop me if I'm saying the wrong thing. But you want to have women developing those products. You want to have women in the leadership positions, not dictating, but leading the direction of the product, because they know, and they, from their experience, from like research, what works best.
Yeah, of course we want to. If we talk about this gender equality, of course we want to bring more women into cycling. Then in the professional sport, we know, of course, that the prize money, they are still not the same. And I also understand the reason behind it. I have the professional rider at home, and so we know what is the reason behind. But honestly, the men I mean, in the men field, they have to train same much to win the race as a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, women have to put the same effort to win the race.
Yeah. If not more, because there is. I mean, we can looking at the more societal level. There is a lot. There's a lot. The kind of the hidden, if you will, kind of responsibilities that perhaps a man wouldn't have.
For example, like if you cannot make living out of the cycling only, then you need some extra job. And how can you focus fully on the cycling? From the professional level, it's it's not just riding the bike. You need to sleep enough. You need to fuel yourself in the right way, and the rest is part of your training. So kind of like doing nothing is part of your job. And so we want to have more people, more women into the cycling, but we also then need to have a bit more women into the bike industry. So women who gonna help you to take a decision what kind of bike you should buy, women that will help to develop the bike. It's we have to look at this picture like a big picture, not only say, yeah, let's bring some more women.
So, on building on that, if from your experience, and what would be the steps to, rather than just being like talking, like we want to bring more women into the cycling industry, like what would be for you, in your opinion, the steps to actually make the access to more women in the cycling industry easier?
Let's start from the point that many people who are working in the bike industry, they are led by the hobby. You love to ride a bike. So we start from this point where you like to ride. And so where should we start? Maybe let's organize some biking trainings for the kids. And this is, for example, like a great something great that is happening here in Switzerland. There's so many bicycle clubs. And they organize weekly rides for the kids starting from age of 7 or 8. And I can really see so many young girls are there. It's great. I think that's maybe also the reason why Switzerland has so many great riders.
For such a small country, that's quite a big proportion of
it's crazy
bike riders in different categories. Yeah. But then it presents itself as a huge and beautiful country with lovely landscapes, as you can see from the background right now.
Yes. Then the second point, trying to involve the woman into this bit more technical education. I think this is already happening, that we see more and more women working as engineers.
Yeah.
This is happening, which is great. But then we have somehow hit the wall, and I can tell you from my perspective that I have 2 small kids, and the bike industry, and to be able to work in the bike industry, it requires also flexibility from both sides, from me and from the industry, which I'm very lucky that in the current job it's happening, that I'm flexible, and it's great. And if more companies would give the opportunity to women, for example, work from home or remotely some days a week. And it's not that we are lazy, we don't want to commute or whatever, but based on my experience, it gives me 3 hours a day extra
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Was
mean, it's a very good point when you touch on that, because it is you know through attending events with like uh with only women panels talking about their experience in the cycling industry. One of them mentioned that uh she she had to help the company create a maternity leave policy, because before that there wasn't anything in place. So she had to help with the HR department and the C-suite team to create that policy. So that and it wasn't a small company either. It wasn't a small company. I won't name the company, but it was quite big. So, and this was in the UK. So it just goes to show that, like, the you the fact that you mentioned that to create more opportunities, you also need to look holistically at how you can make the workspace more welcoming, how you can make the workspace to be more flexible. So you are with women, sometimes there's the childcare responsibility that they need also to manage. So having that flexibility helps a lot to retain talent, and that's what you want. You want to
yeah.
create the conditions, create um, the conditions, the culture that retains the talent, and makes it a good industry to work in.
Yes, and also on top of it, it's if you work in a company for a few years and then
Mm.
you have to leave it because, I don't know, you have to, for example, reduce your working hours, or how much does it cost the company to find someone on your place to
Yeah.
replace you? And as I said, we have really just a few women in the bike industry. And so I think it would be great to keep them in,
Mm.
to let them grow, and
Yeah.
to get more of us.
And on that, building on that, what like we you know and again, there's a lot of leadership positions that are now taken by men in the cycling industry, but those leadership positions come and go. So in a few years time, there will be well, there will be new openings for taking up positions in the C-suite in the cycling industry. And what in your opinion, what is the best way to either mentor, train, support women currently in the cycling industry or outside the cycling industry to get to those positions? Because you need women to have positions in the cycling industry all the way from the top leadership positions all the way to the bottom in the grassroots, so that there's a clear pathway that you can see that I can get to be a CEO of this company. I can also work as a bike mechanic, and there's no roadblocks. I mean, yeah. What is your take on that?
I think that it depends. It would depend on each company separately. It's
Mhm.
but to attract and you have to just attract someone doing exactly what you just described, showing that there is this possibility to develop yourself. That the employer, that they give you the chance to develop your skills,
Mhm.
that there's a possibility to stay flexible if needed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what could really attract, and that should attract more women.
Mhm.
This also what you said, that some of the companies, they don't have maybe the right policy, like with the maternity leaves and so on. For example, like in Switzerland, the maternity leave is 3 months.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
it's not very much.
but on the other side, there are some companies. It's outside the cycling industry that they offer a longer maternity. So this is, for example, what could also attract a woman.
Yeah. So yeah, looking at, I mean, it's I think it's you see, from what you're saying, it seems to be a structural problem. The way the system is built. Is it fair to say that has kind of pushed away women from the leadership positions or working in this industry?
What do you mean?
So I mean, we talking about the access, talking about women accessing the cycle industry to work in it, and there have been kind of the benefits, or kind of ranging from flexibility, from maternity leave. If
I mean,
those things are
maybe
not
we are.
clear, then
Yeah,
the people will women are like, not sure if this is the right company for me, because it's not going to
exactly.
support me
Exactly.
through my life.
I'm afraid that this can be a maybe bit the point, and also cycling industry is, I would say, pretty young by the age. I
Okay.
mean, what I mean that very often that people who work in the bike industry, they are pretty young.
Hmm.
Maybe the reason is also that the bike industry doesn't, you work in the bike industry because you love it.
Yeah,
We
that's very
cannot
often the case.
compare it, for example, like to pharma or banking industry.
Yeah.
For the very clear reason.
It's
So
an interesting point, because it's like cycling. It's normally the roles within cycling industry are normally, as you said, are normally taken by people that enjoy riding a bike. See, they it's a hobby for them, but also it's a profession. And it's one of these like kind of sexy roles. Like I like riding bikes on the weekend. It's a great addition for me to work in the cycle industry,
yes,
because then I get to ride bikes, or I get to work with people around bikes, or wherever it is. So it does present that kind of allure to the people that are
indeed.
already invested into the bike.
Indeed, and there's just like a basic stuff. For example, like as a PM, I mean product manager, you have to be, for example, ready to travel to Asia. Most of the production happens there, and then you have to leave your family, for example, like for 2 weeks.
Mm.
For many women, it's of course difficult, but I don't say it's a disadvantage, because, for example, like I love it. Working in the bike industry gives me opportunity to work with people from Asia and meet them. So it gives a lot of opportunities,
Yeah.
but you also have to sometimes sacrifice something. So it's just important for both sides always to remember about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's what I wanted kind of follow up on this discussion is like, has there been a moment in your career where you had to make a decision that kind of forced you into a point where you had to make a hard choice in terms of that? You mentioned traveling, it takes away time from your family. Is there been a point where it's like, where there's something that represented for you a turning point if this is my ambition to develop and progress in my career, these are the compromises that I have to make.
Oh yes, I would say there were a few decisions like this, and not happy with all of them. Some decisions they were related, for example, like to just pure product development, where we had decision. Okay, we invested few months of our work. Do we do it further, or we don't see the point? Sometimes you have to say no, and it happened to me as well. Normally it's not like a one-man decision, but we take a decision within our team. But there are also decisions to leave the company, and having a beautiful view behind my window brings also some troubles that, for example, like for me, like I said, commuting to work by car takes almost hour and a half. And
Oh wow.
but back when I worked at Scott, it took me almost 3 hours one way.
Oh wow. Okay.
That was also the reason why I had to quit. This was very bold decision, and I loved people there. It was great job and great atmosphere. But because we became a family, and we had this new small member of our family, I had to quit because you have to take responsibility for someone else then. But yeah, thanks to it also I'm in the place where I am right now with another great colleagues, and when you are able to do what you really love, someone says, then you never really work a day in your life.
Yeah,
So
that's the saying.
it might
I mean,
sound a bit.
I mean, it sounds however you wanted to sound it, but it's in the reality is true, I guess. I mean, everyone can have their own interpretation on that saying, but it's how you perceive it. And I'm also curious because you mentioned about having these difficult decisions, kind of having to leave a company because family life kind of took priority. And I'm also interested because you are originally from Poland. You're now living in Switzerland. And I from my perspective, I'm originally from Portugal. I'm now living in the UK, and I'm kind of curious to learn more about that insight. What have you noticed? What have you learned through through moving countries, through adapting to new cultures, and that you have perhaps kind of that has that made you more in your mindset more flexible? Has that made your approach to product development kind of with a different perspective in how you adapt to the needs of the consumer?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I come from 2 million habitant city, and I moved to the village where I don't know 700 or 900 people lives. So and Switzerland is really extremely into cycling. I have a feeling, I have a feeling like everyone here is either cycling or hiking. There are those great memes in internet, like when you go for a date in Switzerland, you need to wear a proper boots and take a backpack because you go for a hiking.
Really good.
So, but what it showed me into the product development was that when I was developing some products, for in Poland, then for sure we were focusing also on the price points. And here in Switzerland, this price point is very different.
So how different? Like, are we talking about
um,
higher?
yes. So for example, in Austria, taking into account the e-bikes, Austria and Switzerland, they have the average price of e-bike on the level, I think, 2,500 euros, and I think Austria was even about 3,000, if I'm correct. And Switzerland sells 400,000 bikes, 200,000 e-bikes only, so half of it, more or less, are e-bikes. So the percentage is similar as in Germany, because in Germany right now there was like 2 million e-bikes sold. Yeah,
like Germany is like just a standout country in terms of e-bike sales, that they have
because the number is really high.
normal bikes.
Yeah, because the number is very high. But if we look at the market share, it's also very high. For example, like in Switzerland. So in Poland, this the difference between the sales of e-bikes and bikes is on a totally different level right now. So for sure we have to focus on developing some different products here. There are different needs for the customers. So
we're talking about more kind of a more premium luxury focused offering, or we're talking about
even if it's not, I would not really call it like a premium. I would say just a reliable product.
Reliable. Okay. Well, okay.
I mean, it's taking into account the what we have available right now on the market. The Chinese products are. UK has the same problem, with the Chinese e-bikes coming, and the customers, they don't really know exactly what they are buying. I see the same issue in Poland. People are buying, e-bike, but the motor of the power is way higher than is allowed by the law. And the regulation says something that people are selling on internet, the product that is not compliant.
Yeah, exactly.
Also like the innovation and into the bike in the bike industry goes pretty fast. That the regulation don't follow. That's what we can also see right now. What's happening in America? Every state has some different regulations for the e-bikes.
That is crazy. That is a nightmare for a product manager.
Yes.
How can you develop a product that has different iterations that can suit all, European markets, US markets?
Yeah, even within the Europe, we have a different regulation. For example, like different needs of the lights in Germany, or welcome in UK, different brake setup.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's part of product development. You have to follow the regulations of each country and make sure that it passes safety tests and so forth, and
exactly,
so that is legally
compliant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and building on this question, actually, you have now been working with the ego movement for over 2 years, and since your time at this company and even before, what has been for you the kind of the trends that e-bikes in the urban sector have experienced? What it's like, and if you can share, like, what do you think? Now, first of all, let's just give us, like, what do you think has been the best trends so far in the urban e-biking? And I want to follow up with a question, but I will ask that after.
The key word, which I said before, is the integration.
And integration. we come back to it, but it's true. I mean, it's when you want to, you have the perfect examples. Okay, like I can think of an example of a company, Van Moof, perfectly beautiful bikes, but from I didn't I wrote it once. I seen it on the media and all the news about it. But it was a kind of an ecosystem around the bike that kind of was kind of proprietary to Van Moof, and that's kind of some way. I think that simplicity and integration appeals to consumers. They want us to look at something that is pleasing, easy to live with, and is
Yeah, so
quite stands apart from other competitors.
for sure they were one of the first ones who did it, but the problem was it was maybe too custom, and we know what happened, like so many different custom parts, and also the software troubles. But yeah, right now most of the companies, they offer this kind of or very similar features. So either is it Bosch, Shimano, or Bafang, you can connect your mobile to your bike, and you can you have the features. You can follow your bike. You can set up your or you can make your own setup even of the motor. Some brands are offering this kind of thing, so you can adjust when we talk about the e-bike, you can adjust the e-bike to your preferences.
Yeah, to your riding style. Yeah.
This is great, and also though all add-ons which you can have thanks to having this IoT on your bike. It's I think like you said, it's very appealing, and I believe that's also where the industry goes, and for different reasons, it also gives you the safety, where on top of having, let's say, the mechanical lock, you can you can lock your bike or unlock, or in case if it got stolen, you can search for it thanks to your mobile. It's great add-on.
And so you mentioned about the Internet of Things, like that being a big thing in the in kind of the ecosystem of e-bikes at the moment, and everything being connected. You can easily manage from your smartphone. Is there what you are sitting in a very privileged position, because you are sitting as a product manager. You get to see what is going to happen ahead of what the consumer sees. I'm curious, what trends do you see to be crucial in the future of e-mobility?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. Let's say it a bit general. I mean, everyone wants to make a nice looking bike, outstanding. So you need to find your. I mean, every brand wants to find like their own unique style, and that's the key for the customers, because like we said before, they're gonna buy what they like. And but I think still I'm quite conservative with my views. So what I think is selling also the best is the quality. You want to have you want to have the product, and as a shop manager, you want to sell the product that is good.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to be known for reliability, quality of bikes, the components that you offer with the bikes, because that, that will, that's what brands then get known for, is whether it
Yeah,
is that reliability, whether it is the
if you
design,
yeah,
the kind
if
of
you look
the meeting like design and function, that kind of, that's the sweet spot
exactly,
where
exactly.
you build, well, sales really.
If you look at the big brands, let's say starting the name with letter S or T, they make great bikes, and it's amazing. But also, many of those bikes, they have a very custom made parts,
Yeah. Yes.
and when something happens, it's quite difficult to replace them with any other standard one. So I think it's a bit pain spot for the retailers and for the customers, for the cyclists.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
I think
All
this
the
is
servicing costs can also then, if you have like parts that were engineered just to suit that particular brand or that particular model of bike, then when a customer goes into servicing the bike, the costs can spiral upwards. Rather than if you have a bike that shares components from a global brand that can can provide different parts easily to your local bike mechanic, for instance, those servicing costs are much lower.
Yeah, and also like it's very hard for bike mechanics to know all the parts. There is a cool company from UK. I don't remember right now the name. They are kind of like listing the specifications for all the bikes, and
Okay.
I think this is something great. But yeah, I'm a bit on the point that we should really think about standardizing, having some standards, and keep those standards in the
Okay.
bike industry.
Interesting, because it's okay. So I'm thinking about the automotive industry, where the a lot of brands will share the car chassis. So
Yes.
you will have multiple brands sharing one chassis
Yeah.
between their different models.
Yes.
And that 20, I think 20 or 30 years ago, that wasn't the case, but now they have standardized that so that
Yeah.
they
But
share that platform between brands.
but it also happens because they belong to some big group. So it doesn't matter what you sell. The money always goes to
To the same company.
yeah, exactly. But I just looked, in fact, recently at Scott, and they have, because Scott and Bergamont, they are together and they are doing it. So this is the cool thing, that you sell. You are having two different brands,
Yeah.
but you are using the same components.
Mm.
So this is one of the example. I believe that Trek is doing the same with maybe with Diamant for some of the components. I know that they do it. If I look into the motor suppliers and the battery suppliers. So yeah, that's good that it's happening. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So I guess you gave us a little glimpse of what is your what would you like to happen in the cycle industry in the future, especially in the urban mobility space, kind of leading to more standardized of development. And I wanted to kind of this conversation now a bit back again to a more personal side, and because I'm interested to find out. You mentioned that you enjoy riding bikes and that's your hobby, and you are lucky enough to have it as a profession as well, and developing them. And I'm interested in the more personal and deeply kind of level. As the bike, how has the bike helped you connect with with yourself or with others, and more specifically, is there a reason why?
I think it's like within with every sport, it's like when you ride on the bike, when you train, you hate uphills. At least for the first 2 months, you hate uphills. But after every day, you ride. Of course, after every uphill, you have a downhill, which gives you a bit more joy. But the harder you train, the easier is the ride tomorrow. And so this helps me to sometimes keep motivation. It's like when not only into the cycling, but when you have to put the effort in and do something that you don't really like to do.
Yeah.
And then you have to think about either about this downhill that waits for you on the top, or about the training that will come tomorrow that will be easier because the muscles get used to this this movement. So this is how it helps me. And you ask about also to connect with other people. So this cycling industry is quite small, so we are close each other. We see each other every year at, for example, like at Eurobike.
Yeah.
And it's great to have friends at work. We spend so much time at work that it's very important that those people are also your friends. And that's one thing. And also, like, on the cycling keeps you you have your society. My husband, he was a professional rider, so our honeymoon we spent on the Swiss Epic. But he was sleeping in a hotel and me in the camper. So, but this those people within the cycling, it's they are great. You meet them sometimes like every week, every 2 week on the races. Somehow you cheer up, competitors, but you are still you are still a friend. There is like this spirit of friendship. This is amazing.
Yeah, I think that you touch on a very important point. Like, at the end of the day, we are all people, and kind of, and especially as in a small industry, that relationship with other people, importance of looking after each other is so crucial, because at the end of the day, we are humans. We want to connect with each other. There are profits to be made, and everyone is aware of that.
Yeah.
But we also want to kind of prop ourselves up, meaning.
Yeah, exactly. And we can go back here to like this point, for example, like, with this woman field, we we want to do something like as a group. We cheer up for each other. We want to stay together.
Yeah, and it's and thank you for mentioning that, because it's critical in kind of having that network of that can help each other. If you can go to other colleague, other friend that also can relate to the same problems, having other women to discuss. It's so critical to create a network and that can share ideas, share problems, and help each other grow in the process. Because that, it becomes part of staying within the industry.
Yeah.
How would you what do you see the benefits of this, of having close knit group of network of women working with this in the cycling industry?
Yeah, so this is like going back to what I just said, that having a friends, it's having friends, having this your own community, it's very important. I mean, especially for me, you probably feel it as well when you when you don't live in your country.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
it's you want to have because you are far away from your family. You want to have your community, someone with whom you can identify, or just like meet and talk, whatever. It's very important to have it, and cycling gives you this opportunity. When you go for the rides or when I go for the rides with the girls, and we can talk about everything or nothing. And what I also see as a really huge benefit of cycling is that it helps us, it helps the families to stay outside. And right now when there is so many kids, with the mobiles in their hands, there's nothing better than the sport. And cycling is so great, when you can go with the group of people, uh, you know uh, also challenge the kids. They love being challenged. They want
Exactly.
to play together. Yeah, nothing better. So that's why I see cycling really, really important, also like in a daily life. It's
Mhm.
our whole life is somehow around cycling. So but I think it's a great sport. I know that the road cycling maybe doesn't seem so clean in terms of the doping, and that there are many news every year that we hear, and we don't want to hear about it. But this mountain bike cycling, to me, still seems very, very clean, like a very clean sport.
Right.
And I think it would be great to put a bit more people into it.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm up all for that. Getting more people on bikes. However, whatever bikes it is, just because, yeah, the shift to cycling to riding bikes, whether it is from journeys within cities from A to B, whether it is mountain bikes, road bikes, whatever discipline it is, it just brings huge benefits. Health-wise, brings huge benefits. Environmentally, just massive. There are many other benefits to it. The mental side as well. You mentioned about being kind of always on smartphones. Being out in nature, enjoying the outdoors, allows you to be in the present. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's. But you the difficulty with is we us for us it's obvious, the benefits, but it's the challenges comes with how we get more people into riding bikes and showing the benefits to them,
Yeah.
to the mass population that maybe has cycled, rode a bike when they were a kid, but they don't do anymore. And that's I think that's where the challenge of the cycling industry as a whole uh, needs to focus more of their attention. Is if we want to grow, then we need to look at how we get more people into riding bikes.
Yeah, definitely. But also this is always big topic and challenging topic to focus on the how to say it again. I lost the word. Not on the not on the industry, but to focus on building some cycling roads.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
infrastructure. Yes, yeah, that's very
the
important.
infrastructure, indeed. You know, when people are being asked, for example, what keeps them against riding,
Yeah, what keeps them away from
lack
riding
of
bikes? Yeah.
lack of the safety, the
Yes,
lack of
that's a very important factor. Yeah.
infrastructure. So so I think this is also why, for example, like Germany is this successful.
Yeah, Germany, Netherlands. Yeah, they create the
Netherlands,
space. Exactly, they create the space for people to ride bikes.
exactly.
The infrastructure is there, so people, when they have that choice and they know that the choice that presented to them is safe, then people naturally start to adopt a new habit, whether it is riding bikes or walking, whatever it is. But then
Exactly.
you need to build it, because people, otherwise, if the choice is not presented to them, then it's hard for people
They
to make that decision.
totally on it.
I wanted now to kind of to you know you know talk still in the vein of personal, in the personal side, and I wanted to kind of bring this conversation to a key focal point of one on the podcast, which is asking people, what does success look like to you? And we talked about about your ambitions, your kind of the challenge that you face in the cycling industry, the sacrifices, but also the rewards that you have had working in the industry. But on a personal note, what does success look like to you?
For me, this I try to look into really small things and
Yeah,
enjoy them. So for me, success is when I go in the evening, when I go to bed, and then I can close my eyes and click the checkbox. I think, okay, this is done, this is done, this is done, and but this gives me fulfillment. I'm happy if I did some progress at work, when I spend the quality time with my family.
Mhm.
This is my success, to keep
Yeah,
this all together. When I think, okay, it was a good day, both
yeah,
at work and on the private life. This is my success.
very good, very good. So I wanted to now kind of ask you a question that kind of is part of the tradition of the podcast, which is every guest leaves a question to my next guest, not knowing who they are. So the question that was left for you, sorry, is the following, and it's quite it's quite a funny question. What makes a good pair of socks?
But they don't fit together. Hey,
Wait, wait,
it's
wait, wait. Like what that they don't fit together. So
yeah. I was. It's very funny that this question really came to me because few years ago I made myself a tradition.
right,
And I was like, every morning when I was picking up the socks, I thought like, the more colorful they gonna be, the better my day it's gonna be.
that's a good mentality. Yeah, I like that.
I was thinking like, well, I have such a colorful socks. It's gonna be a great day. So then, to improve it, I started to put like two different socks. So there's more. So yeah, that's gonna be the answer. That
Brilliant,
the more colors, the less fitting together, the better pair of the socks is.
brilliant. It is also a great conversation starter. And I'm sure it brightens up people's day looking at your socks or just talking about them.
Yeah, indeed, yes.
So now we'd like to pass the baton to you. What question would you like to leave to my next guest?
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. What is your favorite character from your favorite book? And how would you change him or her?
Okay, very good. Yeah, I never had that question before on a podcast. Definitely, and that's the beauty of these questions. Is like it seems like every question that is left for the next guest is always a new question.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
know
definitely
what? Getting back to the question of what makes the pair of socks, the good pair of socks, we should say maybe the UCI regulation.
all right. Let's not get the podcast banned by the UCI.
No.
Brilliant, Kasia. It's been a pleasure spending time with you, getting to know you more, and finding out like how you see the future of the industry evolving, and and the benefits that bringing more women to the cycle industry will bring to us all. Really a privilege to talk to you today.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was really great to talk to you, Pedro.
That's a wrap on the episode of Ride to Success. A huge thank you to Kasia Giger for sharing her story, wisdom, and contagious passion for cycling. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who could use a dose of inspiration. Until next time, keep riding, keep learning, and remember, success is built one pedal stroke at a time. Thanks for listening.